Alright, what's going on, guys? We're Duelists. We're taking a look today at the new yellow Frieza. Everybody's favorite racist. A lot of people say that this deck seems bad because of the way the leader skill works, which we'll talk about in a second. I've been playing this deck pretty much exclusively for the past 3 days because we tried a lot of the new stuff. My play group, we tried a lot of the new stuff, like Proxy, but this was not one of the decks that we printed out for proxies. I kind of just waited to release. And honestly, I think the deck's quite strong, and I think people just are kind of being a little closed-minded about this leader specifically. Not to get too great into that sort of detail, I kind of just want to talk about the deck, talk about how I built it, and then you can make a decision yourself. I would say try the deck at the very least. Something I will say about the deck is, due to the nature of the leader skill, it is a very pilot-intensive deck, and you have to really know your matchups. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the video. So, what the Frieza actually does: one attacking draw, flip on 4 and draw. So just standard on the front. The back side, very cool alt art, by the way. This is probably my favorite alt art from the set, for leaders at least. Very sick. So it's a 1 attacking draw. He's a 20k. End of your turn, you pay 1, you reveal the top card of your life. If the revealed card is a battle card, a cost 6 or less, and Frieza Clan and special traits, you may play it. So what's nice about this is, even if you don't set up your life, you can still just look at it, and if it's something you would like to play, you can, or you just leave it in your life. Obviously, this is a very powerful effect, right? Because you can cheat in a whole slew of cards. Cost 6 or less means you can play the secret rare, you can play all the new 5 costs, and some old cards as well. But obviously, the glaring issue that most people have with this deck, and why a lot of people think it's bad, is you have to crit yourself, in most cases, to play that card out. So I think people are kind of underestimating the power of getting a 6-drop for 1 on turn 3, or a 5 cost, or, you know, we'll kind of go through the deck and you'll see the cards that we're going to be playing out off of this. I think people are kind of underestimating the power of that, and I think they are overestimating, you know, how detrimental going to 3 life is from 4 to 3. Because 4 to 3 is not really a big deal. Everyone's like, oh, the triple striker, the triple striker. Well, that's fine, but this deck has an inherent answer to said triple striker, so you don't get triple striked. Anyway, again, I don't really want to talk about that a whole ton. We'll just talk about the deck. So we're going to set the leader off to the side here, and we'll get into the card choices. So, starting off the deck, I am playing 4 of this Malding Mecha Frieza. So this one is I'm a little iffy on it. I think it's probably your best option, and I'll explain why. But what the card actually does is you switch it to rest mode, which is kind of an issue, right? Because you do want to try to, you know, get to your backside so you can use your leader skill and cheat something big out early. And this card going to rest mode does technically leave you to be awakened stalled. But anyway, you switch it to rest mode, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you add any Frieza Clan. It's any Frieza Clan. There's no cost restriction, it's any card. So there's a 1-cost Zarbon that searches a Frieza in name, or you could just play a cantrip. But I really like this one, and the reason why is because you can play this card on turn 1. You don't even have to use its effect, right? You just play it on turn 1 and leave it on board. Obviously, that's good or bad depending on what you're playing against. If you're playing against Red Cell, they're probably going to kill it. If you're playing against Yellow, they're going to rest it, and they'll kill it. There's also the stuff that kills 1-drops, but then your opponent's not playing a cantrip, right? It's only like really not great into like Red Cell, but you have other turn 1 play options, right? My point is you can leave him there, and then it's an active main, so you could just use it whenever you want. You can wait until there's a point where like you can't really get awake installed anymore, or you're flipped, and then get your top 3 search for any Frieza Clan. So I think this card is probably the move just because it searches anything. And again, some decks, or depending on how your hand is shaped up, you can just do this turn 1. Because if you're sitting on, you know, 4 Awakeners, 2 of them being like the 1-drop life taker, then it's not really a big deal. But yeah, this is the top searcher that I'm playing as of right now. The next card in the deck is going to be 4 of this new Frieza 1-drop life taker. At least this is leader locked. You do this if your leader is Frieza. You mandatory life take, and then you may heal yourself back 1. So you can swap a card out of life to set up the leader skill. Again, it's a mandatory life take, and it is a leader locked to Frieza. So it's just Frieza in card name, by the way, so you can use starter Frieza as well. But yeah, this card's very good. There's not really much else to say. It's super cheap to set up your your life shenanigans to get the card that you want to play out of life with leader skill, and it also helps you awaken in the early game. Again, it's just an alternate turn 1. An additional turn 1 play is, of course, the rest Frieza. There would be really no reason not to play 4 of this. It's a 10k, it's searchable, and it is it's just in archetype. So the next card is going to be 4 of this Frieza, which is when attacking, take a life. That's a cost, so it's not mandatory. And then you can add up to 1 card from your hand to your life. So it's a 1 attacking life swap. It also helps you aggro. It also helps you awaken. So this is good against any sort of deck that's trying to stay high life. Like we're talking like Sin Shenron, Green Piccolo, etc. and so on. There's the older Frieza. That's when attacking, you take a life, same stat line, and then you rest something when you attack. That card is obviously good as well because you get to rest stuff, but it's a little problematic because you rest something when you attack, so you can't like awaken stall with it per se. Like you can swing lead into that card, but you can't get the 20 swing into it. Obviously, the importance of this card is it also sets up leader skill. So that's why I went with this instead of the older 2-cost Frieza. You could make a case to play that one as well if you wanted, but I just think the newer card, just having the synergy to set up leader, you always really want to be able to set that up on the crucial turn where you're going to need to, typically turn 3, right? You're trying to flip and you're trying to play out a big body. So you really want to be able to set that up, and this kind of allows that to be possible. Next card, another Awakener. It's going to be the new 2-cost King Cold Rare. If your leader is Frieza Clan, you take a life and then you search top 4 for a 5 or less Frieza Clan. So this searches a lot of the deck, and it's 10k combo. Again, it's another card that takes a life and it doesn't attack or anything, so it forces your opponent to attack your leader to, hopefully awaken you. But yeah, the next card is going to be 3 Frieza. I kind of want to find room for the 4th, but the back half of the deck is pretty tight because of just everything that you have to play, because you have to have good targets for this, right? So it's just 3 for right now. There may be a case for a 4th somewhere. I don't have it in here right now. So next card, I'm going to just talk about both at the same time. It's going to be, actually I'll talk about probably the next 3 cards. So it's going to be 4 of this King Cold, 4 of this mecha-cooler, and then it's going to be 4 of this Mecha Frieza. So I don't think that a lot of people realize that this Mecha Frieza King Cold combo exists. So the way that this works is it's like a boo chain. It's like the 5-cost boo bobbity bullshit, right? So what this actually does is the 5-cost Mecha Frieza is going to be the crux of the whole combo. When this card is played, which by the way, we'll just talk really quickly about stat line: 425-0, 425-5, and then 525 10k. So they're all 25 swings. But anyway, when the Mecha Frieza is played, you play a King Cold with a cost 4 from your hand. This rare came out in FB05. I think it was intended just as obviously general Frieza clan support, but obviously not a lot of people know about this because Cooler and Starter Frieza suck, unfortunately, right? So anyway, when you play this card, if you have a total of 3 or more cards with Frieza Clan and their special traits among your leader and battle cards, you can play 1 non-King Cold battle card that costs 4 or less in Frieza Clan and special traits from your hand. So you play this, and then it sees your leader, and then these 2, and then you get to play, typically you want to play the mecha-cooler. I was playing Barrier Frieza in an earlier iteration of this deck, but I did take it out because I wanted to max on this, and I think I wanted to add a copy of something else. I don't exactly remember what it was. I think it was the Rest Frieza for 10k because I wanted more 10s, and I wanted to be able to consistently see this. But ideally you're going to want to play this Meta-Cooler. You can of course play these other cards, obviously less impactful, but you can play them. So what the Meta-Cooler actually does is kind of going to be the important part. On play, you add a card from your life to your hand, and then you add a card from your hand to your life, up to 1, obviously optional, but then you switch your energy to active mode, which is obviously quite good because it sets this up. So on 4 in the marker, you can do Frieza King Cold Meta-Cooler, and then untap an energy, so you get that for 4, right, instead of 5. And then you can set up leader skill with this, so you can, hopefully play out one of the 2 cards that, really the 3 cards that we're talking about next. And then when this card attacks, you freeze anything. So this is a persistent freeze. It's kind of like more copies of this, right? Which is why I think 3's probably okay because we have an archetype one, so to speak. But yeah, this card is probably the best card in the deck. if I'm being completely honest. Even if you don't have this Mecha Frieza, if you have any of your cantrips or any of your early game, by the time you're on 4 or 3 in the marker, you can just play this King Cold and play this mecha-cooler and then set up leader skill and you get energy back for this, right? So that's really strong. Now, the most powerful part about this is depending on what matchup you're playing, right? You may not want to go for some of your top end, your other top end for leader skill, and you can just stack this in your life and then play this out end of turn and do the chain and end up with the energy open, which is not exactly super relevant because I'm not playing like result of training or anything like that. There's a case to be made to play those cards, but end of turn you shit out 3 bodies, right? And then this is turn 3 that you're doing this. So I mean, I think that's quite powerful because you can still set up leader, right, for the following turn. And, you know, if this is turn 3 and you're going into turn 4 and you have another one of these and another one of these, you can just play 2 more guys. So again, yes, you're going from 4 to 3 for this, but look at the value that you're getting, right? And you're setting up an additional card for this as well, which again, you don't always have to crit yourself. There is an option in the new 5-cost blocker for the set that it will heal you when it's played out of life. So this, I think, is the most powerful part of the deck, and I think this is the most overlooked part of the strategy in general. But I'm going to kind of move on from this because I think I've said everything I need to say about this. But I just think people are either don't realize that these cards exist or like underestimating the power of like what that is providing. Next cards are going to be the other cards you can play as your top end out of life. These ones, except for this, will crit you a life, like the Mecha Frieza. But we have the new Golden Frieza, the Mecha Frieza King Cold blocker, and then the 6-drop Golden Frieza. So we'll start with this one because it's an old card. So this is obviously the Floodgate Frieza. If this card's on the board, your opponent's battle cards that cost 5 or more are played in rest mode. So that's why whenever people have the argument of like double striker, triple striker, you're mitigating those cards with this, right? Yes, Shenron will kill this, or not Shenron, Goku GT 7-drop will kill this, but then you can just freeze the triple striker the rest of the game. Obviously this is good into Boo, this is good into, it's also good into Omega, obviously this is again quite good into Cell. This can be pretty easily removed by Cell, admittedly, because they have the self-destruct extra, but, you know, I digress. It's still a body that they have to answer, and then again, you can play this as early as turn 3, that's very powerful. So that's kind of all there really is to say about this. This card's just, everyone knows what this does. Also, on play, it kills anything rested. So the new cards. The Mecha Frieza King Cold, when this card is played out of life, you heal 1. So this is a free play, right? It's a free play, as in it doesn't crit you. So you get to play this guy out, and then he'll just put you back from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, right? Depending on when you do it. Or 1 to 2. So it's offering you that defense. It's a 5 cost, so it's not super easy to remove, but the low attack does make it a bit easy to remove depending on what color you're playing against. So yeah, I mean, the card's quite good. I honestly wish I could play 4 so that I could ensure that I have it, but I've kind of learned that I just don't charge this card ever, and I just hold it so that I can use them towards the end of the game. Because after you go to 3, you realistically kind of only want to play this out of life. The only other one that you would really want to play, depending on what matchup, would be this or this, right? It's matchup dependent. But for the most part, you kind of just want to play this one once you've gone to 3, so you can just kind of stay at 3. So the new Frieza, this card is probably the second best card in the deck, and I think this is something else that people are underestimating, the power of like what this kind of effect is providing. So it's a blocker. It's a 5/35/0. Unfortunately, all these cards have 0 combo. But on play, you choose one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards, and one of their rest mode energy, and they can't be switched to active mode. So you freeze the energy and you freeze a battle card. So against some decks, right? Well, it's not against some decks. Against all decks, there's going to be a point where you play this card, and if you play it out of your life, instead of going for like Mecha Frieza Chain or something, then you can kind of turn skip them, right? Like Piccolo will spend the first 4 turns ramping to 8 energy. Whenever they play the Gohan, what I will typically do is I will Earth Erase if they attack with it. If they don't, I'll rest it with Frieza and Earth Erase it so they lose their redirect. And then I'll just play this card out of my life and freeze their energy, and now they're off of Beast Hunt again, right? So, like, I don't think like that's really powerful because you're setting them back a turn. If you do this to Omega, whenever they're trying to go into their 5 energy turn, you kind of put them back 2 turns, right? Because they really want to play Omega, stick him, and then next turn they want to Dragon Thunder and then minus energy and just try to kill you, right? Because you can't activate blocker, and then they'll just swing double strike. But you put them off of that again. If Cell goes 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, and then you do this, well, now they can't Cell chain you. So yes, they'll have other play lines, but they can't do their game plan. They want to do the thing, and you tell them that they can't do the thing. So I don't know. I think this card's really strong, and it's kind of underestimated at the current moment in time. But I don't think many people have tested this deck. So I think that's also part of the problem. But again, Freezing Energy is really powerful. This card is really powerful. It's statted very high, and it's not exactly sticky, but it's also not exactly easy to remove either. Again, it is going to be matchup dependent. The rest of the deck is simple. It's just 4 supers and then 3 of the Earth Arrays. What this does is you add a card from your... I don't know why this isn't leader locked, by the way. But you add a card from your life to your hand, and you put a card from your hand back in your life, up to 1. You KO a 5 or less rested, and that's it, right? So it's just a spot removal card that sets up leader skill, so that you can go like spot removal, kill a 5 or less, and then you can go like end of turn Golden Frieza. So you can like pop Gamma 1 and 2, and then you can like play this end of turn and kill Beaston, and then you tell them their next Beaston comes in rested against like Piccolo or something. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good card, and I like it at 3 right now. I was thinking 4 just because it just sets up this. It's also an Awakener, right? Because you can just awaken with this. So yeah, I think the card's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be the Golden Frieza from the new set. Give it a try. That's all I'm really going to say. I think the deck's really strong, and people are kind of sleeping on it. I don't think it's like best in format or anything, or like it's super oppressive or amazing, but I think the deck has legs, and people just aren't giving it a chance. So that's going to be my soapbox. If you watched the whole video, thank you. And yeah, I'll see you next time.